Here we go, the end of year lists have started. And this year we may be starting with them in January, but you can absolutely expect all of them to drop before March this year. So that's something. As always, we're starting off with my top 10 favourite hit rap songs of 2020. What qualifies as a hit? Any rap song that charted on the Billboard Hot 100, and there was a lot of them this year. I'm pretty sure the most that there's ever been because rap is so popular on the charts now. I noted down every single one to make sure I'd heard as many of them as possible before I did this list, and while I didn't count exactly, there was definitely over 200 songs on that list, easily. Man, what is this? Big Sean's stealing all the shine. The camera wants to focus on him and instead of me. Let's try and get my face back in focus. Over here, over here, over here. You're doing a great job. There we go. Rap just continues to dominate the charts more and more, so I was spoiled for options. But which 10 did I narrow it down to? Well, this is CDTVProductions, and let's take a look at my top 10 hit rap songs of 2020. Okay, so I didn't actually make a slide for this one, but first we're just going to quickly be covering some honourable mentions that I wanted to include on the list but didn't quite make it into the top 10. And I'm just going to talk about these songs real quick off the top of my head. First one we have here is Juice WRLD and Marshmello, Come and Go. I really like this song, even though it does sound really commercial, and I've seen people say that it sounds overproduced. It kind of does, but I just really like the sound this song has going for it. That bit where the guitar and the claps come in, I think that sounds great. It's a really nice switch up. The big drop of the instrumental in the song doesn't really bother me as much as it would with most people. And I like the content of the song. I think it's pretty relatable with feeling insecure in a relationship and not wanting to lose someone because of that. I think it's a great song. We've got D4L by Drake featuring Future and Young Thug. Basically a Future and Young Thug song. This is the main one that stood out to me from the Dark Lane demo tapes. Pretty much one of the only ones that did, because I wasn't a fan of that project. But the energy on this song was so high. Future and Young Thug came through with crazy energy, while Drake's vocals were mixed pretty weird. Like, they sounded super crispy. I still really enjoyed his verse on the song. The beat just really hit hard. That was a great energetic track. Love that one. Lil Wayne, Funeral. I really like the whole Meek Mill Dreams and Nightmares thing that song has going on, where it starts off softer and with Wayne sort of singing over it, but then in the second half it moves into this harder beat. The switch is really abrupt and it's more dramatic, and Wayne just completely snaps over it. And the final one we have is Polo G 21. Just something about that beat. It just sounds so melancholic from the second it starts that it puts you right in the mood of that song. Like, it's very simple, it's a very basic instrumental, but the second I hear it, it just sort of makes me feel a little sadder, and that works for the song. That's not necessarily a bad thing for the song. And of course Polo G works perfectly with it because his voice has a natural melancholic melody to it. So yeah, that was a great song, one of my favorites from his album, and another one that I considered for this list but didn't quite make it. So yeah, I did fire through all those pretty rapidly, but those were just the honourable mentions. So now let's move in to my top 10.
I walk around with them thigh pads, but I ain't got no yard rock in my lap. Everywhere, scrap.
21 Savage has come a long way. It was just a few years ago that I thought this man was one of the most boring rappers to grace a microphone, and now he's out here dropping at least 3 songs that I considered for this best hits list. It was tough to choose between them, but as you can tell, I landed on Glock in My Lap as my personal favourite that charted from Savage Mode 2. His voice still is naturally pretty monotone, but the way that he utilises it is way better now. It sounds like he has much more presence and energy on his newer songs, and his flow rides across the beat perfectly.
All black tux, I'm a businessman. Me and I still shaking killer's hand. Whoa. Take the plug off in the middle, man. Whoa.
Then of course, there's Metro's production. The beat goes so hard, and I love all the dark elements to it. It's very fitting for a song that dropped around the Halloween season. Those rising choir vocals that fade in and out during the hook, there's the sinister bells that loop throughout the song, and those strings that drop in and out during the verses sound like a snippet of something Joseph Bishara would make for the Insidious movies. I love it. Side note, if you want to hear a rap song that Joseph Bishara, that did the score for the Insidious movies, actually produced on, check out Shroud by Tech 9. Horror has always been my favourite genre, so beats that sound like they're inspired by horror movie scores are always so great to me. And when you incorporate horror elements into a trap banger beat, that's a sound that is perfect for 21 Savage.
I see my past everywhere. Don't stand too close to me. Eternal PTSD.
This song dropped way back at the very start of the year, and to this day, I still find myself randomly singing Juice WRLD's incredibly catchy hook to myself. No disrespect to anyone else on this song, because everyone is great here, but I'm 99% sure that the chorus alone is most of the reason why the song was a top 40 hit. His melodies are intoxicating on it. It's safe to say that lyrically, it's a pretty dark track, with G Herbo having some of the heaviest hitting lines about his experiences with PTSD. Chance the Rapper had a great verse, which was nice to hear post Big Day, and Uzi's verse, while it was the simplest, still fit the PTSD topic of the track really well. It's kind of eerie how he makes such dark lyrics sound lighter than they actually are with his youthful voice. It makes for an interesting contrast.
I make sure all my ops stay black. Draining all my energy, no I cannot sleep,
Then there's that transitional verse from Juice between Chance and Uzi's verses. That just hits beautifully. The way his auto-tuned vocals reverberate in the empty space left by the beat dropping out, combined with his harrowing words, is perfect.
I need me a Zan. The days seem longer as life gets shorter. We know sex, drugs, money.
It's a hard-hitting song with a crazy amount of replay value. Herbo was great on it, and his feature selection really paid off, with everyone enhancing the track in their own way, landing him his first Hot 100 hit.
Look, I ain't think I had a thought of suicide in me until life showed me all these different sides of me. Too many times I thought the Reaper was outside for me.
Man, Big Sean has come a long way from dropping lyrics like "she put that thong on my groin," and then it go boing. Detroit 2 had a lot of high points for Sean that saw him at possibly his most personal and introspective, and Deep Reverence is one of those high points. He is just getting shit off his chest on this one. He finally puts a stop to the idea of him and Kendrick having beef, mentions that him and Jhené Aiko sadly lost a baby, his struggles with anxiety and depression. There's just so much ground that he covers here, venting it all out over that soulful Hit Boy produced instrumental. It's worded pretty simply, but poetically, Sean's improvement over time cannot be understated. Hearing him rapping more maturely and from a deeper place is an absolute treat to hear. And of course, I'm not gonna move on without mentioning the opening verse from the late Nipsey Hussle on this song. Last year on my best songs list, I had this to say about Nipsey. He has a way of rapping and utilising his voice that just commands your attention and makes you focus on and feel every single word that he's saying. It's so engaging to listen to. And that absolutely applies to this song. He commands your attention with every word.
Black love me with a deep reverence. I was birthed in a C-section. Helicopters and police presence.
His verse may be short, but he leaves a strong mark on the track, with a line from his verse actually giving the song its title. Both rappers held their own on the track, and it makes for an incredible listen.
The top is not enough. Wash us in the blood.
Is there anybody here? Is there anybody here?
This was definitely what was needed after Jesus is King. Undoubtedly my least favourite Kanye album so far, by quite a large margin. That's not to say he completely jumped back to his old ways on this song, cursing and talking about wanting to fuck his sisters-in-law. Absolutely not. The Bible-focused lyrical content is still there, but it's executed in a way that is so much better to listen to. The sound of the track instrumentally is much closer to Yeezus with its menacing synth lines than it is to the clean, stereo sound of Jesus is King, and that is a very welcome change. And the drums hit so damn hard every single time they drop in. Kanye can continue to reference the Bible all he wants if he's going over beats like this, because it makes for a very bumpable track. The structure of Kanye's songwriting is definitely repetitive, but the ever-changing instrumental helps carry it forward nicely, and it makes his third verse at the end of the song even more explosive when he starts unleashing his flow a bit more.
But don't take me the wrong way, cause God took me a long way. They wanna edit the interviews, they wanna take it to interludes.
And while I do wish his contribution was longer, Travis Scott fit into this song more than I was expecting he would with the song's religious focus. Wash Us in the Blood was a return to form for Kanye, with him sounding a bit more like his old self, and it has me excited to see where he goes next with his music, if we ever get it. Hopefully we do.
You can run up if you want. Fuck is you talking about? Look, it's Pop Smoke, niggas know me. Keep 2 4s like I'm Kobe. As you riding.
Pop Smoke made some of the hardest music of 2020, and Got It On Me is one of his songs from that year that bumps the most. Here, he flips the chorus of Many Men by 50 Cent into his own version, over a much more 808 heavy instrumental.
Still on my soul, somewhere my heart turned cold. Have mercy on many men.
Don't let my heart turn cold. Have mercy on many men. Many, 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 many men.
The production sounds so dramatic and I love it. And to be honest, I nearly enjoy Pop Smoke's version of this hook as much as 50's original one. Another one of the reasons why I like this song so much is that Pop Smoke did a legendary song in hip hop justice with his interpolation of it, while making his version very much his own. Pop Smoke ran the potential risk of this song sounding like a glorified cover of Many Men, considering the fact that his voice and presence on a track is so close to 50's. But Got It On Me is its own song, and it's a brilliant one. And the verses are up to par with the hook too, with Pop Smoke snapping from the second they start, implying a more faster flow in contrast to his usual, more steady delivery. It sounds so good with his voice, the way he raps here just carries weight. His career was unfortunately cut way too short when his life was taken at the age of 20 years old, but with songs like this, he left behind a strong legacy and mark on the rap game within the short time span that he was making songs for.
And as the marathon continue, we keep running. But I'm like, damn, I wish you seen that pussy coming. I wish I coming for real when the storm came.
This was actually the first song I heard this year that qualified for this list, and it has maintained a top 5 spot on it all throughout the year. Letter to Nipsey is just beautiful. As the title suggests, this track is Meek Mill and Roddy Ricch's dedication to Nipsey Hussle, who was tragically killed last year. And while Meek wasn't the closest person to Nipsey, as he acknowledges in his verse, he still drops some really hard-hitting lines about how big Nipsey's impact was and the effects his death had on him. It's pretty heavy stuff, but it is done in a very touching way. Then we have the hook from Roddy Ricch. Man, he is already great and he just keeps improving with every single thing he drops. He truly makes some of the catchiest choruses in rap right now, and this one on here is moving.
Did it for my little brother, whoa, 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 whoa. Had to stand through these tears cause I see you every time my eyes close.
Just the way his voice sounds when he's reciting the pained lyrics of the hook really hits you in the heart. He has a verse here too, and his contains a couple lines that hit just as powerfully. And on top of it just being a beautiful track, all the money made from it and all the money that will be made from it is going towards Nipsey's family. A highly respectable move from Meek and Roddy on here.
Oh my God, y'all niggas bet you'll be for y'all, I'll be dead. Yeah, yeah. Whole lot of hoes, whole lot of men.
Every year, my status as a former Uzi hater and current Uzi stan becomes more and more solidified. For the second year in a row, here he is on my best songs list and at an even higher spot than last year. And it proves that while I do generally have more of a soft spot for deeper songs, a song doesn't need to be emotional or hard-hitting to rank highly in these lists. Sometimes it can just be a song that sounds amazing to me. And when it comes to Baby Pluto, I don't know how to describe this song in any way other than addicting. I first listened to it the day it dropped, March 6th of 2020, and I have listened to it consistently since then, all the way to right now when I'm recording this. I won't try to argue that the song is anything revolutionary or groundbreaking, but something about Baby Pluto is just magical to me. That melody on the instrumental, which originally comes from an unreleased 2017 Uzi song called Fast As You Can, just fits the cover of Eternal Take exactly. When I see that UFO and that outer space setting, I hear Baby Pluto in my head instantly. Uzi's delivery is more raspy and aggressive, which I really like the sound of, and he drifts all over the beat with his ever-changing flow.
No, I do not eat steak. All I eat is fish plates. My diamonds so cold in the freezer, my wrist. Somewhere in the hill, probably my bitch stays. Switching my crib and you know.
Not to mention, that delayed build-up to the drums dropping in at the start of the song just makes them hit all the more impactfully when they do explode into the track. Basically, the sound of this is so fucking great to me. I replayed the hell out of this in 2020, and that is absolutely something that will continue into 2021. A top tier Uzi song as far as I'm concerned. Something about it just never gets old.
God is the only man I fear. They training officers, the killers, then shooting protesters with these rubber bullets. They regular people, I know that they feel it.
I would not have believed you if you told me that Lil Baby would drop one of the most important and mature songs of 2020. Much less if you told me I'd be placing him above artists like Kanye on a best of list. And I'll admit, maybe that is one of the reasons why it's so high on here, because it surprised me a hell of a lot. But outside of that, it's just a pretty powerful song and easily one of Baby's best ever. It's safe to say 2020 was a year full of tragedy, one of the most upsetting tragedies being the murder of George Floyd by police on camera, which resulted in riots and protests all over the US and beyond. The Bigger Picture is a protest song that resulted from this situation. And over the 3 verses in this song, Baby covers the entire thing pretty evenly, looking at all sides of the situation and acknowledging the struggles of fighting for change.
You can't fight fire with fire, I know, but at least we can turn up the flames on. Every color person ain't dumb, and all whites not racist. It's a problem with the whole way of life, it can't change overnight. But we gotta start somewhere.
But him looking at it in an even, balanced way doesn't take away from the overall message of the song. Change needs to happen somehow, no matter how long it takes. I am emphasizing a lot how this song surprised me, but I never expected to be hooked on pretty much every word that Lil Baby is saying within a song, like I am with this one. He has a huge worldwide platform, and he used it to try and encourage change, no matter how difficult. It is very much a typical Baby song in terms of the production and the way he raps over it. Nothing really changes there. But the content and verses themselves are so impactful, and that is what makes The Bigger Picture special, and a standout within Lil Baby's discography.
Leaky faucet do, but I ain't talking drip when I say that I'll get the drop on you. Singing fuck all of you in auto-tune, I am too volatile and too grizzly to bear.
And at number 2, we have what I consider to be the best song from Eminem's Music to Be Murdered By. As I talked about in my review for the deluxe of this project, the whole album is something that's grown on me over time, and as the album grew on me, so did my enjoyment of this song that I already really liked from my first listen. Eminem drops one of his strongest verses on the entire album, and so does Royce the 5'9". And I don't just mean that this is the strongest Royce verse from the 3 he contributed to the album, I mean that Royce drops one of the strongest verses period across Eminem's whole entire album. Royce's unorthodox flow is so well complemented by his rhyme scheme that's packed with internal and multisyllabic rhymes. While he covers his struggles with alcoholism, talks about his wife being his biggest support system, and talks about his dissatisfaction with America's lack of support for black people. It's less than a minute long, but it packs a very strong punch. Then we have Eminem, rapping about a topic very common for him. His rough upbringing and environment leading to him having a hunger for rapping and wanting to be the best at it. Even if it's familiar ground, the way he raps about it with his never-ending rhymes is great to listen to, and some of the wordplay is pretty smart on here. And the way his verse starts with those consistent bursts of short lines always gets stuck in my head.
Never so dope, full of gold rope. Wanted one though, they were so dope. Was a have not, cause my pockets didn't have knots. I was so broke.
We also have the frequent changes in the beat during his verse, with it becoming more intense and layered as his rapping continues. The chorus from White Gold ties it all together, and the product is my favorite song from Music to Be Murdered By, and my second favorite hit rap song of 2020. Em and Royce will always remain an incredibly strong pairing together, and as I say every single time that I talk about them, we can only hope that we get another Bad Meets Evil album while there's still time left for one.
Corpses in county morgues, Lord. Those images haunting. I ain't been asleep yet. It's 10 in the morning. I'm sending a warning.
The Fall Off 2020. Are you running on CDTV time, Jermaine? While we didn't get a new mixtape or album from Cole in 2020, as we were expecting to before the world kind of shut down, we did get an incredibly strong single from him in the form of The Climb Back, one of the best singles that he has dropped in years. I liked Cole's KOD album overall, and even with that being the case, I'd say that this song is clear of every single one on there. Every single one. Throughout the 5 minutes the track runs for, Cole expertly weaves the topic of being surrounded by death and violence into his motivation to succeed in rap, along with his confidence in his ability, while blissfully gliding over the dreamy, sparkling instrumental, perfectly fitting his flow into the slow tempo of the drum beat. The way he raps and structures his rhyme scheme in the second verse is just done so masterfully, it sounds incredible.
Meanwhile, I see that your diamonds is glistening. I'm glad that you shining, but need I remind you my niggas is diamond and nickelin'. Scraping on whatever coin they can find.
And there's those pieces of wordplay throughout the song that are just so smooth, like when he said, "Check out my projects like them workers that Section 8 appoints, and you'll see how I flipped like exclamation points." Too smooth. Made a little tune called Folding Clothes, and I still ain't known to fold under pressure. Well, you know what Cole do, make a diamond, they just rhyming, me I'm quoting gold. Yeah, this man is rapping on here. Everything about the lyricism on here packs a punch. It's something that only a veteran rapper could write. Initially, I did feel like the only thing this track was sort of lacking was a super strong hook. But the chorus does fit the vibe the track has going for it, and the verses matched with the beat are so strong that it completely overpowers the fact that the hook is just slightly dull to me. If this truly is a taste of what we're getting on the Fall Off, then I am more than ready for Cole to drop what will probably be a 2021 Album of the Year contender. After all, I have not heard J. Cole snap this hard in a while, and his first single from it is my favorite hit rap song of 2020. Well guys, that is it for my 10 best hit rap songs of 2020 video. What did you think of my list? Let me know down in the comments below, let me know what your favourite rap songs of the year were, and of course drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe and turn on those notifications if you want to see the 3 other end of your lists that I'm going to be putting out following this one. After this one it's going to be the worst rap songs of the year, so I'm very much looking forward to making that one and seeing what you guys think of it, seeing if you agree with the choices I've made for that. My voice box is pretty much exhausted now, so that's all I've got to say for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all in the next one, and this is CDTV Productions, signing out.